Ladies and Germans, how you all doing? This is Con over coming to you with some Company of Heroes 2 action. Today we have ourselves a 1v1 between Paulie D playing as your blue trunk OKW, facing off against Brosras down here playing as the Soviets. Now, it's kind of a funny story, actually. I found this game like a week ago and I saved it to my hard drive and then I couldn't find the stupid thing for like a week. And I realized I put it in the wrong folder. But anyway, we're back. We're here actually with some more of it. So Paulie D bringing on in, of course, that Breakthrough Doctrine, Special Operations Doctrine, and Scavenge Doctrine. Brosras having a bit of like a, I guess a teen fan moment. Well, he's got NKVD, which could be kind of fun. Lend-Lease, boo. And Soviet Reserve Army, which would also be kind of fun, at least in my mind. I would love to see one of these two armies, though the fact that he hasn't selected it already makes me kind of wonder if we're not going to see Lend-Lease once we get to that 2 CP. Paulie D, though, since this is Langreskya, is going to go for a dual Kubelwagen opening, which could backfire heavily when you think about it. But for the moment, we're just going to see Brosras is just rolling out with the tons and tons of conscripts. Those conscripts, once they get that lovely little Soviet anti-tank grenade, are going to have nothing to worry about from the German horde. But Paulie D is going to actually go for that Breakthrough Doctrine, so Breakthrough Tactics, tons of fun. Tons of fun. But it's 35 munitions to get that beautiful, beautiful first option here. So not quite going to see that being used just yet. But alright, Volksgrenadiers coming on in, which means those conscripts are going to have quite a hard time here. But the first action is finally happening between Sturm Pioneers and these conscripts, and looks like the Pioneers are trying desperately to pick up both fuel sources on the map. But combat engineers on one side and conscripts on the other one, not going to go too well, too easily. Then again, as the conscripts throw themselves inside of a house, that garrison, well, it gives this plenty of time for these combat engineers to just get brutalized. And brutalized they get, losing over 50% of their health and over 50% of their models now. As now the Kubelwagen comes on in to support the fight against these encroaching conscript hordes. And frankly, they should do really quite well early on against this. We are going to have a bit of a wet noodle contest. Volksgrenadiers going up against Brosras' conscripts over here in garrisons. But we're going to see, even before that, we're going to see ourselves an SWS coming on out. And the Germans do, in fact, get both fuel positions on this map. And that is an incredible amount of fuel early on here. Brosras is just going to continue running with conscripts, and we'll see how well that goes. But these conscripts right here, well, they might want to run soon. They have the AT grenades, and indeed the other Kubelwagen does get taken on out, but we could see a dead conscript squad on retreat. Maybe not quite. No, instead, okay, so conscripts are going to run afoul probably of this other Kubelwagen in just a second here. Shockingly enough, they're actually not dead yet. Alright. Alright, so Paulie D only has 2 squads of infantry on the map, plus his Kubelwagen. But yet, despite having what amounts, in my mind, to about half the map presence of his opponent, he holds an awful lot of territory, and that fuel bump that he's getting, that plus 39, is an excellent, excellent early bit of resource generation for him. Volksgrenadiers, though, are going to find themselves outgunned as now Paulie D goes down to just a Volksgrenadier squad and a Sturm Pioneer squad. Not a particularly happy place to be in. Now, he could call in a Sturmoffizier. At the same time, though, if this guy dies, it will force the other things around him to retreat, and that's never a good thing to come through. But with, of course, the collapse of the immediate German army, well, what do we have left to fight? And the answer to that is not much. And that will allow the Soviets a ton of time to pick on up a lot of territory. Haven't quite hit that fuel point over here to the southeast just yet, but seizing an awful lot of territory here. Panzer Fusiliers coming on out, and these Sturm Pioneers, they have the hazard removal kit, but they're not rocking it out just right yet, and that's probably a good call there. Now, the Panzer Fusiliers coming on in with the G43s, they're going to make short work of these conscripts, especially a unit like this that is heavily, heavily wounded. So it's the question of how quickly the German army... There we go. And that was the question answered right there. Volksgrenadiers diving into this house, and of course they're going to be having the conscripts diving right back into here. I'm wondering if we're not going to see a stick grenade going in towards that garrison. Nope, not going to happen just yet. More Panzer Fusiliers coming on in, and I'm wondering if this was in fact his ploy all along. Used a couple wagons to generate some map presence, knowing that they're not going to be able to do a whole lot in the long term. And just kind of wait for Panzer Fusiliers. Here we go again to kind of pull that bad boy back out. The G43s, those are actually pretty inexpensive too. I mean, 90 for G43 is pretty darn good. And I'm wondering, you know, okay, they're just scavenging, I believe. I might have been wrong there. But alright, no. So it looks like Brosras is going to go with Soviet Reserve Army, which means he's probably holding on out to get these PPSs onto his conscripts. And once that happens, well, the Germans will have a very much, in my mind, at least an uphill battle. To the north, Panzer Fusiliers chasing off some conscripts. In the meantime, Sturm Pioneers pushing across the center line as Volksgrenadiers coming behind these conscripts and probably send them packing pretty quickly. Now, I am surprised to see that we have no... How do I put this delicately? Well, we don't have any sort of tech structures coming on out for the Soviets. And the Volksgrenadiers will drop a incendiary bomb right on top of this other charging conscript squad. But even though this allows these Panzer Fusiliers to get flanked, G43s will do a rather good job, I would say, in close combat with those conscripts. Meanwhile, in the distance, we see a rather unfortunate squad of Sturm Pioneers being chased off by combat engineers and conscripts. But I suppose that's about par for the course. In the meantime, Panzer Fusiliers do take out and push back those conscripts as another squad moves right back in. So that's going to be the name of the game here. As Panzer Fusiliers get poured out in the dozens. Again, these guys at 290 are super, super cheap. And they're no slouches to combat. They really aren't. Also coming back out with that AT rifle grenade is pretty darn good and it's pretty cheap. And having this flare is not a bad idea either. However, it does require them to kind of vet on up. The Germans, in the meantime, could call in another SWS if they wanted to. Well, of course, after they get the requisite manpower. And these Panzer Fusiliers actually will find themselves perhaps outgunned. Never mind. Outnumbered, but never outfought seems to be the name of the game here. And the Soviets lose their fuel point, although they have more than enough fuel to really push through. And the PPSs are called on in, and this is super, super inexpensive, all things considered. Just 40 munitions to get 3 PPSs. And watch how different this engagement goes should the Soviets get a little bit closer on in. For the moment, they're fighting foolishly out of cover. And backing away, there's a good call. Alright. Pauly D, in the meantime, is going to go and call in that next SWS. And the Germans will start to push back out on the flanks of the map. These guys are not actually teching up. Okay, these guys are PPSs. Okay, so watch the difference here. So, even though they are outnumbered, they're doing an excellent amount of work, I would say. Of course, remaining in combat just a teensy bit too long. We could see this squad go down early on, and that might be the first loss from the Soviets. No, not quite yet. They escape with their little tails tucked behind their little legs. SWS is moving on forward, though, and this is going to be a very, very advanced Schwerpanzer headquarters. Not happening just yet. Looks like Pauly D is a little bit concerned right now about the micro-wing, and his troops are getting flanked, so that's a good call right there. And now 2 of his Panzer Fusiliers do have G43s, so that will be a rather good advantage at range. Of course, when mobs start moving on in, and when these conscripts will definitely be mobbing, it's going to be hard for the Germans to fight them off. Now, with that Maxim on the field as well, the Germans don't have much recourse but to fall on back, which yields the field, at least for the moment, in favor of the Germans. Excuse me, in favor of the Soviets, rather, excuse me. 467 to 477, 9 minutes and 33 seconds on in. And surprisingly, the Soviets are heavily, heavily outdoing the Germans in terms of veterancy, despite the fact that it seems like some of these German units have done nothing but constantly fighting. Like these Volksgrenadiers, I'm surprised that they have as little veterancy as they do. But now the Schwerpanzer headquarters is up and running, which means most of this approach is pretty well covered by the Germans. However, this fuel point Not 100%, and this is very, very lucky for the Germans that they're able to see this. Unluckily, they don't have the entire point actually covered. In the meantime, though, Maxim is going to go to the middle part of the field, and everyone's getting outflanked. Rockfield Flamethrower, in turn, coming to cook part of those Heine troops as they come on forward. But a good 80% of the German army is right here in the center part of the field, and this is a battle that won't be soon forgotten. Germans thrusting on in. They've lost one of their fuel points, but they've taken the Soviet one away, at least. And conscripts being flanked in turn. So while rapid conscription is being utilized here, it does not look like it's super, super easy to hold the field any longer. The rapid conscription. At long last, a T-70 being called on in 11 minutes in, but with all those anti-tank grenades and Faust and things like that, I would not want to be that T-70. And a fourth squad of Panzer Fusiliers coming on in. These guys new and coming into the fight fairly quickly. The Germans do need to be careful, because when that T-70 comes in, they either need to have a Kettenwaffe, which they do not have, or a lot more munitions, which they currently do not have either. But it is a trip cap for those German dogs. 467 to 436, 11.5 minutes in. Look to see a fair chunk of the Soviet war machine get removed here. Oddly enough to me, that was a pretty decent flank. Okay, and now it opens up for the Panzer Fusiliers to come in behind. Grenade comes on out, and the Maxim is going to take the full brunt of this. Only one model going on down, but now a good chunk of the German army is retreating. And that T-70 is going to chase them back pretty much the entire way to base. Might even be able to take out one or two. We'll see. Rakettenwerfer being called on in, and that's probably the best thing he can do under the circumstances. I would not want to continue chasing this, though. It seems to be a foolish idea there. And indeed, these Volksgrenadiers are moving on in, might be able to Faust him. T-70's got to move right now, otherwise he's going to lose that bad boy. Faust comes on up. Clearly a Panzer Faust 120. In the meantime, PPS is coming on in, trying to make the Germans pay a pound of flesh for this push here. And dear God, I didn't even recognize how many conscripts are coming on in. So that was 2 fresh conscript squads. Again, they get replaced on losing 6 soldiers. So over the past, what, 2 minutes? Yeah, past 2 minutes, the Soviets have lost an incredible amount of firepower. And manpower, for that matter. German pioneers are forced to give ground as the Rakettenwerfer comes on in. And I'm thinking what Brosras was just trying to do here was just lump in the incredible amount of troops and just start upgrading all of them with PPSs. That'd be a good idea, at least in my mind. But this squad right here, not quite dead. No, he managed to get out. Rakettenwerfer, though, one more shot. No, shot fails to connect. Actually, shot fails to happen overall. And we take a bit of a break, which is good because I was losing my voice there for half a second. Soviets are down 100 tickets. Just over that, in fact. And the Germans are doing rather well in just establishing control, especially on this eastern side of the map. This Schwerpanzer headquarters holding things down rather well, covering most of that fuel point, and guarantees, at least as long as this building survives, that something will always remain in the fist of the fatherland. But the Soviets should not be forgotten. I mean, looking at it right now, they have an absolute ridiculous amount of troops here. And actually, now I'm thinking about it too, they don't even need combat engineers anymore. They have the conscript repair kit, which is pretty darn good. It means this T-70 can get repaired in the field and get repaired pretty much anywhere. And judging how cheap these guys are to replace, a mere 20 manpower, look at this. This thing's going to shoot back to full health in like seconds. Now, all these guys getting upgraded just yet? No, not just yet. But Brosras' full tier of material can be called on in. There is no mechanized armor compania, and judging by the way that's getting the tech structures are getting built or not getting built, I'm wondering if that's even going to happen. Either way, buckle up, folks, because we still have quite a long ways to go here. Panzer Fusiliers will find out this conscript squad to the north, and these guys without the PPSs will suffer mightily at the hands of the Germans. And I just saw, for some reason, a lot of munitions disappear, and I cannot for the life of me understand why. Oh well. Alright, in the meantime, though, these Volksgrenadiers coming under fire, literally, from these combat engineers, and Panzer Fusiliers up here getting outnumbered and outgunned and getting slaughtered. They have to run right now. They're not going to make it, though. Oh, wow, they do make it. Okay. Alright, I was wrong, and I was wrong yet again. Grenade going on out. This Maxim's going to go and get a nice bit of suppression, but going to get hammered, as now, I would think, should be a dead Maxim? No. Shockingly not. Unfortunately, though, for this T-70, well, for one, there's going to be a P-4 coming on out. Though, with all these conscripts on the field, there's going to be an awful lot of AT grenades that can be thrown at the offending main battle tank. And we're just seeing hordes, literally hordes, of Soviets rush up the main line here. And they might get slaughtered by all this automatic weapons fire and explosions, but at the moment, they have the Germans more or less kind of pinned in their own base. And that is just a shock to me. Meanwhile, over to the eastern side of this map, I'm going to check on over here. Sheriff Panzer headquarters are just pouring tons of fire into this garrison here. As T-70 is just getting pounded in every single direction here. Actually, will we finally see a dead squad? That would be a great boon over here for the Germans to finally get rid of one of those PPSs. No, it's not going to happen. Instead, flame troops come to the fore, and this will continue. This massive, all-out, no-holds-barred assault. This is actually rather incredible to me. OKW, though, do get their first MBT on the field. It's going to be a heck of a lot more useful than pulling in a Jagdtiger. Although that would be kind of fun. Panzer Fusiliers, realizing they're in the wrong neighborhood, decide to back away, and here comes the Panzer IV. This gun is over here, though, which means that this Panzer IV should not feel too comfortable. T-70 getting hammered a couple of times, and here comes the Sheriff Panzer headquarters, putting more rounds into these garrisoned conscript troops. Rapid conscription being popped again, and this is kind of cool how Brosras uses this as just kind of pouring on the pressure, just charges pell-mell into the fray. Doesn't even matter if he loses troops or not, he will eventually cap himself out in terms of army size. But that hasn't happened just yet. Stovepipe is out here as well, so 82mm cannon is ready to go. Rifle grenade coming out on top of this Maxim. And God only knows how much damage will get done there. And actually, it could be this is finally the squad. Panzer Fusiliers grab it and bolt, and two more squads of conscripts come onto the field. But look at this. There are almost, what, over a third of Brosras' troops are on top of each other here. This is incredible. This gun does finally get the eyes on that P4, and these guys need to back away right now. And I meant right now, like 5 seconds ago, because they're going to go down and retreat. There's really no way they can get out. Now, had the Soviets just sat still, they could have gunned him down much easier. Much more quickly. Sheriff Panzer headquarters getting hit by that stovepipe. And that was actually a very good call, all things considered. Now, my question is, where is this Maxim? Well, the Maxim's setting up right by the German base, and maybe, just maybe, might be able to suppress these hordes. Unfortunately, it hasn't happened just yet. There we go, finally getting that suppression. But even then, they just fall back onto another wave, and this is crazy for all the right reasons. For me, like, I don't know, this is... I think some people play this game not really realizing how much, or how little, there's these kind of massive engagements, but that's just so much fun for me to see right there.
Supply sector under attack.
Germans are engaging, trying to take out this Zis gun, and the Sheriff Panzer headquarters, well, it is still sitting above 60% health. So positive right there. And there we go, so there goes the Zis gun, and the main threat to the P4 has now been removed. And I don't think these Soviets are going to get to it too quickly. Although, dear God, there are just so many guys in base right now. 5, 6 squads back in base, all getting repaired. And somehow he misses the AT gun. Get that last shot off. Oh, no, he doesn't get it. It's going to be actually taken again real quickly, I think. Yep. So he missed his chance. He's carried that pistol for 9 years, and now he wastes his shot. But no, so the Germans are forced to give ground in the face of such rampant neglect for human life. But 4-1-2 to 3-5-7 to 2-1 cap in favor of the Germans, and this Maxim should easily be able to plop down right here and cover this entire sector. And that's exactly what he's going to do. You know, the fascist bastards may not be able to hit shit, but you throw enough bodies at them and they're going to hit them just by raw luck, I would say. Now, assault artillery could be kind of fun. However, it's only going to hit one sector, and the only sector they can consistently hit with a lot of enemies in it might be this one right here, and even then it's only going to cover this small percentage of territory. T-70, though, moving on in, trying to get shots on the main line, will be able to do so, and Brosras realizes the danger of pulling on back before that last coup de grace can be put on in. Mortar also doing some work here, and the first 5-star vet is out on the field. Now, Brosras' troops, we're seeing a ton of them have 3 stars of veterancy, and it's really just because he's getting guys for free. So what does he care if he loses a 2 dozen here or there? This is truly Stalin's army, where the death of one man is a tragedy and the death of millions are a statistic. I'm not sure what just happened there, but I'm guessing it was an upgrade? Yep, upgrade happening. And these poor Fusiliers don't know what hit them. Again, 12 rifles for each guy coming on out. P4 is coming to the rescue, though. Question is, can you really do anything about this? The answer to that immediately is no, not really. And now T-34-76 coming on in soon in about another 15-20 seconds. And that's a nice, solid win, I would say, for the Germans if they're able to convert. Excuse me, for the Soviets if they're able to convert. But there's just so many guys here. Dear God, they need a Stukas of Fus or something. Calling in an ISG would have been an interesting call. Unfortunately for him, he decided to cancel that. And as such, will not see any benefit thusly. And the perverse note about this is that it doesn't matter how many guys Pauly D kills, it seems that more of them just going to get called right back in. Soviets do have the middle part of the field now, 410 to 331. They do drive away that T-70. But again, it doesn't matter where the Germans get momentary kind of victory. You just throw tons and tons of guys forward and start putting on anti-tank grenades as quickly as possible. See, this guy right here's got 10 kills. He has no machine gun, and he already has 10 infantry kills here. That is just almost something that should never happen. Another P4 coming on in, and though with the T-34 on the field as well, it's coming in just in time. He really, really needs to convert something here. Because of right now, he is not so much outgunned, but he's being... I don't even know the right word for it. He's being just out-mobbed. Outlost? I'm not sure if outlost is not the right word either. And no, for some reason they cancel... Okay, is he waiting for this? No, that'd be a silly idea. Be a silly Billy idea. Don't do that. No. He's waiting for the Panther, isn't he? God. You know, I understand the Panther is good, but why? Why? Anti-tank grenade. Oh, wow. Oh, my God. This guy's got 49 kills. He's the first Panther Fusilier squad that got called on in. 49 kills. And that by itself is just an indication of the madness that's gone on in this game. Soviets, by comparison, 9, 4, 17, 15, 11. And yep, there's the Panther. I would have just gone for the P4, get that other MBT out just a little bit sooner. Yes, the penetration on it is just marginally less successful than the P4 against the T-34, but waiting to get this out is the problem in my mind. Now Katyusha coming on out. And here's something the Germans should have pushed for a little bit sooner here. Is getting some of their own kind of area bombardment. Because the second that the Katyusha comes out, it's going to be next to impossible. Oh my god, okay. Rifle grenades, Fausts, everything. There we go. That's one death right there. So that Katyusha might get cancelled? No, he's not going to be. Where's it? This gun? This gun's further back. Okay, so the P4 does limp out of there alive. Does have a fairly good chunk of rest and refit to do here. This Maxim's going to get picked on up before he retreats successfully. And Strom Pioneers, they're coming on the flanks of these conscripts. Oh no! Katyusha, though, announces its presence with a rain of steel and explosive death. Panther coming on in, and this could be, though, a fairly, very quick pickup, should he show the right amount of aggression. And for the moment he's doing that, he's going right for it. That Katyusha is running away in fear and terror, really. Panther does go and throw a couple of rounds into T-70 and gets one hefty hit there. Damaged engine, which is a bit of a problem, but even if you throw out all of those anti-tank grenades, it's not going to be enough. Now, did the Soviets retake their machine gun? No, they did not. What they did do is they did drop off a squad of partisan tank hunters, and that's pretty darn good. One more hit will destroy this Panther, and that will be a bit of why I think this is a stupid idea to bring in a Panther. But then again, I'm biased. So, Panzer Fusiliers, though, trying to go and run interference, not going to do very well, though. And this is going to be a dead Panther. So a squad of conscripts does go down, and a fairly good one at that, but trading it for a Panther, well, that's not a bad trade at all. A flare? He tossed out a flare. How novel. Alright, though. So, 26 minutes in, 369 to 331, the German lead has slipped quite significantly. They took the Maxim back. How lovely. I believe he's looking to find that Katyusha. He's not going to find it there, though. That bad boy is back in base. Only 2 kills to the name right now, but little Katya will cause a lot of issues for the Germans if things are not remedied fast. Panzer Fusiliers continue to get dominated by this continual stream of just Soviet arms. This poor guy's going to get forced back as well. Well, what do we got? Okay, so in the meantime, though, oh my god, just conscript spam. That's the only thing you can call this. Now, long last an ISG comes out, but there goes a dead Panzer Fusilier squad. So with that, Pauly D comes down significantly against his opponent here. Katyusha Barrage coming right back in, going for deep into base. Yeah, he's looking to find that base troop, but he's not going to get them, I don't think. P4 falling back in the face of these suicidal conscripts. Managed to do so effectively. These Panzer Fusiliers should be throwing out grenades and everything with that galore. Gee, 60 kills there. Only 17 here, but these guys, those guys right there, the real heroes of this game so far. And now, with that, a small bit of relative calm comes across the battlefield. I really would have loved to have seen a Stukosafus being called on in, as opposed to that Panther, even. But no, alas, we're only seeing that coming in now. Yowza. So, in the meantime, what we've seen, well, defensive positions coming on out. 11, 4, 15, 12. Surprisingly good. This guy doing surprisingly little. So with that, of course, I mean, super cheap in terms of fuel. Then again, against the T-34-76, that costs nothing. Shocking how little that actually cost in the end of days. Maxim is going to go and push back the encroaching Soviet dogs for the moment, but they're going to get shoved back in turn by that mortar, which have been doing a surprising amount of damage. Only 2 kills, but doing a great amount of, let's just call it morale and health damage over time. ISG, in turn, though, is on the field, which means he theoretically could find and hit that mortar team. Unfortunately, he's facing the wrong direction, so not much going to be happening there. T-70 getting hammered in the meantime by that Vakatnveffa. And there goes finally a squad of conscripts. But again, there's just so many of them. So many of them. Okay, this is when we throw it right up behind over here, and you just kind of say, hey, make me a Stukosafus. 63 kills and counting. These guys are workhorses, my friends. 64. Now, if they charged across close enough to get a round or 2 there, that'd be fantastic. They're not going to do that. They're too canny for that. Meanwhile, the peasants, partisans get thrown back Not so much in disarray or anything like that, but just getting thrown back by the sheer weight of firepower in the middle of the field. This ISG could be fantastic. I mean could be fantastic. It's not just yet, but could be fantastic. Another one being called on in. That's probably a decent call at the end of days here. And the Soviets did not manage to take that center part of the field before they get shoved off. Now, there hasn't been a rapid conscription being utilized in the last 10 to 15 minutes. Well, 10 minutes at least. It's probably a lucky thing for the Germans, because the last thing they really want to deal with is just more and more of those blasted conscripts. Max, in the meantime, the captured Maxim, almost finally has a star of veterancy here. But he is the unlucky target of a Katyusha barrage. Another T-34 being called on in, and this guy right here, well, he can do rather well, I would think. Especially with the support of, not these, obviously, but this or that. Rather nifty right there. So here comes the T-34, though, and bouncing around. The first thing he does is bounces around. That's a shame right there. ISG should just probably turn and start pounding this area in the center part of the field. Hasn't happened just yet, though. Yes, there they go. Now they're getting onto the combat. They do manage to decap, but they get forced back off very quickly. And P4 finds his old comrade coming right back into the fray, and the guy continues to bounce around. Ziscon won't bounce around, though. Or will he? Dear God. One more round might do it. It does. There goes a second T-34 on the field. Now we are going to see an AT grenade, and that's a problem, but the Ziscon's going to get taken on out. And there's not even going to be a damaged engine crit on that one, so now suddenly Brosras getting destroyed. And that's not even being coy. He's getting slaughtered now. And conscripts in the meantime over here, these PPSs not being levied to their close-in, death-defying combat. And now it is the Germans who are reaping a bloody harvest. 68 and 48. These two conscript squads are incredibly dangerous. They've killed literally an entire company's worth of men by themselves. Now, where is that Stukosafus? He's got a tiny bit of manpower to get, and he calls that in, and that will be the nail in the coffin, I would say, for the Soviets. 367 to 292. We're crossing the 32.5-minute mark here. And the ISGs, well, the ISGs just continue to cause problems. Incendiary grenade coming on down, and these Volksgrenadiers brave to the point of idiocy. As this conscript's now just going to hold on out just out of suicidal bravery. Not going to be the best case, though, and they're going to fall back. Katyusha getting a couple more kills here. And oh, wait, never mind. It's only gotten 2 kills. That's actually depressing how little that is. AT rifle. That might be enough to kill it. And it is. Damaged engine. It goes down. So these guys, 69 kills, and one of them was a tank. And now Brosras' troops are just stuck back. And what happened for the longest time with the Germans being almost base locked, now might be the case for the Soviets, who for the first time in a really, really long time have less troops than the Germans.
The enemy is taking what we have secured.
These guys getting PPSs? No, they're not. They did bring in another squad of partisan tank hunters, and that's probably a decent call. Trying to engage against the P4 here is a decent decision. A cannon will get hounded to death, given half the opportunity. But the Germans are now capturing up a good chunk of the map. They're losing part of it over here to the Soviets, of course. But when all is said and done, first of all, these partisans are not going to want to be here for very long. And I say that, and that's when the conscripts come from the side. Do I see a close-in barrage of automatic weapons fire? No, I don't. What I do see, though, is a barrage of artillery fire, and that will do a good amount of damage. 4 stars of veterancy there. 10 kills between the 2 AT guns, infantry support guns. I'm just in awe of how many kills are on this, guys. This is incredible. Katyusha barrage coming on in will probably decrew both of these support weapons here. Yep, that's one. And the T-34 will now get in and behind this P4 I'd be very surprised if this is the death knell, though, because... Yep, there's the ISG. Because... Rifle grenade... damaged him, and here come now in turn the AT grenades from the other side of things. So rear armor hits. There goes the destroyed engine over there on the German side of things. But I'd say this T-34 is pretty much just begging to be slaughtered. 367 to 236. I think Pauly D's just waiting to get himself a Königstiger. And if and when that happens, well, yikes. 75 kills. The tallies just get higher and higher. It's incredible. 49. Again, these two guys by themselves have killed an entire historical company's worth of troops. These are the company of heroes. Here they come now. It's going to pick up this last little bit of a hit. Out of control. That's a death there. This ISG just doing incredible work. 36 minutes and 8 seconds coming on up, and the Germans continue their domination of this. They did not look wonderful for a fair bit of time there, but, yeah, I don't know what to tell you, but it ain't going to be pretty for the Soviets when that Tiga yawns and stretches his, claws a little bit. And there we go. That is the great killer himself. And the Germans continue to have both fuel points, at least for right now. This one's going to get captured out pretty darn soon after they take this position here. But the Königstiger, really, I mean, come on. What's going to be done there? Not much. I do want to single out real quick. Brosras clearly is a Dawn of War 3 player. You can tell by the skin that he's got going on here. Beautiful skin, if I can say so myself. T-34-76. Well, he runs afoul of the German AT position. Takes 2 rear armor hits already. Although the Katyusha going to come on in and take vengeance, it looks like. Getting that completely decrewed. He's got to know that this game's pretty much over. I mean, Brosras has to know that this game is done. And that he knows it now. The Königstiger comes on in, and that is the surrender. So I have to know the end tally. 75 kills, 49 kills. That's incredible. So after a 37-minute game goes on off, Pauly D takes out Brosras in a thrilling back-and-forth match here, 367 to 182. Wow, winner by way of surrender. That was well played there by both sides. Regardless, though, folks, that's going to do it for me on this particular video. If you have a game you want me to check on out, email me at conalwargaming@gmail.com or hit me up in the comments below. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, please do so. And you haven't yet checked me out on Twitch, you should do that as well. I'll try to remember to put a link to that channel below as well. In any case, folks, you all have a good day. This is Conalwork signing off. Take it easy, everybody.